Same backward, lemon, cross, lemon, and break. Once you feel confident with that, you might just do the cross bar. Cross, break, cross backward, break.
What's up, guys? I hope you are well. About 6 months ago, I quit my corporate America job of 23 years for a different life, a life following Jesus. I wanted to experience life where day didn't blend into night. I wanted to spend life serving and find a way to be able to be in my Bible every single day, truly study the Bible, understand God's way, not the world's way, His way of working and provision. I knew there had to be something different than the life that I was in. Of course, the end of my work life with the insurance company that I worked for coincided with my mom passing away and the end of me being a caretaker for 7.5 years. So it was an interesting time because the company of 20 years gives a 5-day bereavement leave for you to get everything sorted out within those 5 days and then come right back and get back on that clock. So the fact that I left at that moment was perfect because I had an immediate relief to know that I didn't have to worry about work. Without the work pressure, I could sort through life. I could sort through the feeling of being incredibly unsettled without mom on the planet, joyful and relieved without a doubt, but there was a feeling that, it was unsettling not to have her next to me after 50 years of her always being my sidekick. So I had a great deal of optimism and I was excited to embark on this life living at my own pace. I know how to multitask. I know how to run from one thing to the next frantically. I know how to work 12-hour shifts. I know how to commute to school at night after a 12-hour shift. I know how to answer multiple phone calls, care for a parent in the next room who's dying, run back and forth, get speeding tickets on a regular basis because I'm flying up and down the roadways. Been there, done all of that. Now it was time for me to discover what am I really supposed to be doing with my life. At 50, I think it's a good time to sort that out and to know the answer. Jesus says, "Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." Speaking of rest and how great God is, let's talk about that for a moment. So this is a part of the Mom archives, which are so extensive that I spend my days going through all of these videos and old mini CDs and writings and notebooks of information she gave about the family. But this was Mom after she retired, about 5 years after she retired at 62 years old. But I want to speak a little bit about her work life because Mom started working at 7 years old as a field hand in Williston, Florida. And she continued to work until 62 years old. So 55 years at the end of her career. At the end of her work life, she was working in a mall. I walked in there one day. She's working like a machine. And I am like, Mom, wow, you're moving so fast. I didn't realize you worked at the speed. And Mom, who loved to stop everything when I came into a room to talk, said one or two words, and then she continued to race back to the work that she was doing. Matter of fact, she was such a machine at this job that there were some folks from a Sears store, some management that saw her working and said, oh my gosh, who's that? And they asked her to come work for that store because of the way she was cleaning dishes in a mall. So by the end of her work life, Mom said something to me. She said, I'm just tired. I'm so ready to be done working. I want to retire next year at 62. I don't want to have to wait until 70, even though you get more in Social Security. I want to be able to get my money while I still have the health. And that she did. I promised her, we'll make sure you get there. By the grace of God, she got there. It was amazing. She would often talk about Social Security in this country and how it's provided when you're so old, you can barely, half the time you may not even make it to that age, or you could get to the point where you can't even enjoy it because your health may not be in great shape at that time. But luckily, Mom was able to retire and be in health, praise God. And yes, she can still run. Yay! Run, Mama, run. This was when she was in her mid-60s, and Mom was actually able to still run until 75, and that was after her first stroke. She was still running by the grace of God. Mom had 10 wonderful years of health before she began to get sick after she retired. As I was caretaking for her, I thought often about all the sacrifice she made for us and how in her generation, growing up in that time in history, that there was so much struggle, there was very little opportunity, and she had to hustle and bustle and do all of the things so that we wouldn't have to live that exact same life. Our life doesn't have to mirror our parents' life. They work so hard so that we'll have a better future, and she stressed that. So in thinking about all of those things, I knew that I could make a different choice going forward in honor of her and continue creative life, continue work life, but first and foremost, do what she taught me to do, which is put God first. After retirement, Mom said, I'm living my dream. It's so nice to not have to jump up every day and go to work. She was able to focus on just being here on her land. Praise God.